by recognizing myself for 5 minutes.
Mr. Chairman, point of order.
Gentlemen, who's speaking?
Jeff Duncan, point of order.
Yes, sir.
If the witnesses are advised by counsel and we're not swearing them in, why would they need counsel?
In previous hearings, we've always permitted witnesses to have counsel. Sometimes you'll see them at a hearing just leaning back and talking to their counsel before question. But it's allowed under our rules, and I just wanted to make members aware that they may mute themselves while that's going on.
They should be sworn in, but I yield back. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, gentlemen, my time is short, and I ask that you make your responses as brief and to the point as possible. If I ask you a yes or no question, I'm just looking for a yes or no, so please respond appropriately. I want to start by asking all three of you if your platform bears some responsibility for disseminating disinformation related to the election and the Stop the Steal movement that led to the attack on the Capitol. Just a yes or no answer. Mr. Zuckerberg.
Chairman, I think our responsibility is to build systems that can help.
Mr. Zuckerberg, I just want a yes or no answer, okay? Yes or no, do you bear some responsibility for what happened?
Congressman, our responsibility is to make sure that we build effective systems to help fight this prejudice.
The gentleman's choice is not to answer the question. Mr. Pichai, yes or no?
We always feel a deep sense of responsibility, but I think we worked hard. This election effort was one of our most substantive efforts.
Is that a yes or a no?
Congressman, it's a complex question.
Okay, we'll move on. Mr. Dorsey.
Yes, but you also have to take into consideration a broader ecosystem. It's not just about the technology platforms we use.
Thank you. Thank you. And I agree with that. Mr. Zuckerberg, independent analysis has shown that despite all the things that Facebook did during the election, users still interacted with election misinformation roughly 1.1 billion times over the last year. The initial Stop the Steal group started on Facebook and gained over 350,000 followers in less than a day, faster than almost any other in your platform's history. And they were immediately calling for violence. In mid-December, you stopped promoting high-quality news outlets for election content at a time when the disinformation was at its height. And finally, the FBI has released numerous documents showing that many of the insurrectionists used Facebook to coordinate and plan the attack on January 6th. So my question is, how is it possible for you not to at least admit that Facebook played a central role or a leading role in facilitating the recruitment, planning, and execution of the attack on the Capitol?
Chairman, my point is that I think that the responsibility here lies with the people who took the actions to break the law and do the insurrection, and secondarily, also the people who spread that content, including the president, but others as well, with repeated rhetoric over time, saying that the election was rigged and encouraging people to organize. I think that those people bear the primary responsibility as well, and that was the point that I was making.
I understand that, but your platforms supercharged that. You took a thing and magnified in 12 hours. You got 350,000 people in your site. You gin this up. Your algorithms make it possible to supercharge these kinds of opinions. I think we're here because of what these platforms enable, how your choices, put our lives and our democracy at risk, and many of us just find it just unacceptable. I want to ask each of you another question. Do you think vaccines that have been approved for COVID-19 work? Just yes or no. Do you think the vaccines that have been approved work? Mr. Zuckerberg.
Yes.
Mr. Pichai.
Yes, absolutely.
Mr. Dorsey.
Yes, but I don't think we're here to discuss our own personal opinions.
I just want to know if you think the vaccines work. Yes?
Yes, however.
Thank you. Okay, so if you think the vaccines work, why have your companies allowed accounts that repeatedly offend your vaccine disinformation policies to remain up? I mean, according to report, just 12 accounts on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram account for 65% of all the vaccine disinformation on your platforms. You're exposing tens of millions of users to this every day. I don't have the stats on YouTube, but my understanding is it's similar. So my question is, why in the midst of a global pandemic that has killed over 500,000 Americans, that you haven't taken these accounts down that are responsible for the preponderance of vaccine disinformation on your platforms? Will you all commit to taking these platforms down today, Mr. Zuckerberg?
Congressman, yes, we do have a policy against allowing.
Oh, I know you have a
vaccine
policy, but will you
disinformation.
take the sites down today? You still have 12 people up on your site doing this. Will you take them down?
Congressman, I would need to look at and have our team look at the exact examples to make sure
Look
they
at it
violate
today
the
and,
policies,
and
but we
get
have a
back to
policy
us
in place for
tomorrow
this.
because those still exist. We found them as early as last night. Mr. Pichai, how about you?
We have removed over 850,000 videos in
If you remove
2020
them
on
all, do you
COVID
still
and
have people that are spreading disinformation on your platforms? There's about 12 super spreaders.
we have clear policies and we take down content. Some of the content is allowed if it's people's personal experiences, but we definitely
Okay, thank you. Mr.
widespread-
Dorsey, I see my time is getting expired. Mr. Dorsey, will you
We-
take these sites down? You got
Yes.
about 12 super spreaders. Will you take them down?
Yes, we remove everything against our policy.
Thank you. I see my time has expired. I